Gravity has no lobbyist. It doesn't read the Wall Street Journal. And it certainly doesn't care about your quarterly earnings. For a century, Boeing was the undisputed titan of the skies, a cathedral of American engineering, a symbol of absolute reliability. But inside the hangars, a silent coup was taking place. The engineers were stripped of their rank. The accountants took the stick. The cockpit was hijacked by spreadsheets. Decades of craftsmanship were traded for stock buybacks. Safety was sacrificed at the altar of shareholder value. Now, the results are written in the debris fields. Planes falling from the atmosphere, door plugs blowing out at 16,000 feet. A $150 billion empire in a terminal freefall. This isn't just a corporate failure. It's an autopsy of how Wall Street killed the most important company in the world. The sky is falling, and the pilot is a calculator. The rot began in 1997. On paper, it was a merger with McDonnell Douglas. In reality, it was a reverse takeover by the very executives who had run their own company into the ground. They didn't bring better wings. They brought a parasitic culture of cost-cutting. The first move was a declaration of war against the product itself. The headquarters was ripped out of Seattle and moved to Chicago. 2,000 miles of separation. The message was cold and clear. The executives wanted to be near the money on Wall Street and as far away as possible from the grease and grit of the factory floor. The link between the people who built the planes and the people who sold the stock was severed. Boeing stopped being an aerospace giant and started being a finance firm that happened to make flying metal. When Airbus launched a more efficient competitor, Boeing panicked, but they didn't innovate. They engaged in cheap financial engineering. Instead of spending billions to design a modern airframe, they took a 1960s relic, the 737, and strapped massive fuel-efficient engines onto it. The physics were a nightmare. The engines were too big for the low-slung wings, making the plane want to pitch its nose into the sun. Instead of fixing the hardware, they applied a digital bandage, a software patch called MCAS. It was designed to force the nose down automatically, hiding the plane's unstable nature from the pilots. They kept this deadly secret out of the flight manuals to save money on simulator training. They bet 300 lives against a line item on a spreadsheet. Physics lost. The software won. And the world watched the consequences on the evening news. The fallout was a series of preventable massacres. 346 people dead in the dirt of Indonesia and Ethiopia. Boeing's response was a masterclass in corporate sociopathy. Blame the foreign pilots, stall the investigators, and silence the internal whistleblowers who had warned about the shortcuts. Even as the planes were grounded and the reputation of the company disintegrated, the priority remained unchanged. Between 2014 and 2020, Boeing spent over $40 billion on stock buybacks. They enriched the C-suite while the quality control of the actual aircraft vanished. We see it now in the modern headlines: wheels falling off, panels blowing into the void mid-flight, loose bolts discovered in brand new jets. They maximize the dividends while turning a global icon into a flying death trap. The craftsmanship died so the stock price could live. The autopsy of Boeing is complete. It is no longer an aerospace company. It is a hedge fund with wings. For 20 years, the leadership treated engineering as a secondary expense rather than the core mission. They forgot that in the sky, there is no margin for error. They believed they were too big to fail, too important to be held accountable, and too rich to be governed by the laws of nature. But you cannot manipulate a balance sheet to increase lift. You can silence the engineers, you can lobby the regulators, and you can cook the books until they shine. But you cannot bribe the laws of aerodynamics. Boeing is the ultimate warning. When you stop respecting the machine stops respecting you. The empire is in pieces on the runway, and no amount of financial engineering can make it fly again. This is the Blueprint Globality. If you want to understand the brutal reality behind the biggest empires in the world, subscribe.